Welcome, everybody. It's Monday night again already, and it is time for our Monday night empowerment session. Tonight, we're going to talk about adaptogens and menopause and how menopause does not have to be a dirty word. And I'm excited about this because as I have walked people through this journey, and now that I have gone through this journey, it has been nice to see people get results and not have to deal with what society has deemed or decided would be a difficult time in our lives. So I'm excited to hopefully give you guys some answers. So let's start off the bat here and hear from Miss Shelley Sutton.
Hi, everyone. Valerie asked me to give some input on menopause and how Solle has helped me. It's an interesting journey when you start having those menopause symptoms. When I went to see Valerie, when Solle was just starting out, I was having horrendous hot flashes. And please never talk to my sister because she explains it in great detail, which I don't particularly like, and we will talk again about this after this video. But the hot flashes, the sweats, even just being out in public, the massive amount of sweat I was having was horrible. When you're visibly hot all the time and the sweat is apparent, it's not a good feeling. So I talked to Valerie and asked what might help. At that time, because Solle was so new, all we had was Salle Vital and SolleMaca. She suggested that I try this, that maybe my body needed to get back into balance. So I ordered, and I will tell you, it sat on my counter for a month. But once I started taking it, I was back in balance within 2 weeks. And since that time, I've been consistent with the Salle Vital. I have added some things in. Excel has been wonderful for helping to balance my hormones. And, just the whole package of the mind and body working together, getting you back in balance, to have those symptoms gone, that's been probably 9 years ago. And I have not had any trouble since that first 2 weeks. I can't tell you how much better I feel. Menopause is part of life. I know that. I understand that. But you know what? We don't have to be miserable. We have tools now that can help us balance and do what we need to feel better. So, if you're on the fence, if you have questions, as always, I'm more than willing to share my story with you. We all need to live the best life we can, and this is one of the tools that helps us do that. Thanks.
I love Shelley's story because I remember her coming in the shop and she was just beyond frustrated with wanting answers and had her fill of the hot flashes. And once, like she said, she let it sit on her counter for a little while before she tried it. But when she did, she was blown away with the quick results that she got. And the Vital and the SolleMaca is something I have used as foundation, and you guys are familiar with that. And so once again, here it is showing that if we use this foundation, that we can get these results. So let's look at what some of the different symptoms of menopause are, because some people might be surprised if they haven't gone through some menopause, and others who are in menopause or have gone through it might be going, oh, wow, I didn't realize that is often tied with that. So some of the most common things are going to be what you hear about: hot flashes, night sweats. In fact, these night sweats are so impressive that women are talking about having drenching their sheets, their cycles getting really irregular before they go all the way into into menopause. Loss of libido, vaginal dryness, and mood swings. Those are the most common. Then the changes that they don't expect, that they often see: the fatigue, hair loss, sleep disorders. In fact, insomnia was one that I was not expecting or prepared for whenever I went in through menopause. Difficulty concentrating, which is different than memory lapses. We have dizziness that can show up, weight gain, because of the change of hormones and what's going on, bloating. So our digestion gets impacted. Allergies. Who would have thought that allergies coming in can be a result of going through menopause? And then brittle nails, changes in odor. So when, maybe body odor or the mouth, irregular heartbeat, depression, anxiety, irritability, and then panic disorder. So these are all things that can come in with the onset of menopause. There's different types of pains that show up for people. We can get breast pain, which is not pleasant to have to go through. Headaches, that's supposed to say joint pain. Burning tongue. Burning tongue, I will tell you, has to do with being deficient and not having enough B vitamins. Electrical shocks is what the other people talk about. Then again, we talked about digestive issues, gum problems, muscle tension, itchy skin, and tingling extremities. And then finally, we have some others which people are familiar with osteoporosis. So look at that. How many of those were a surprise to you? Because so many of us think of those most common ones, and then the other with the osteoporosis being the main things that show up with menopause. So what really is going on here? That's what we want to look at. And I do love this little cartoon with poor Millie. That was one heck of a hot flash. And if you think about it, and those of us have experienced them, when they come on with, it's like out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you're just hot. But yes, we know that part, but what's going on? So let's look at the basics. The body's going through a change, okay? Because if we think about it, we've got different times of life, and this change, we're going from being fertile to not being able to reproduce anymore. And of course, whenever we have a change, any type of change, we have to make adjustments. And that's not just with our body. Let's think of it a change of life, like what's gone on with in the last year with the changes we've had to make with society. So any type of change, we make adjustments. And so the question is, how can we best support the body during this time period? To me, that's what it boils down to. What can we do rather than sit and complain about what's going on? What can we do that makes the biggest difference? So here's some items that I have found that make a difference. Number one, having a bedtime routine. I cannot tell you how important this is. You know, knowing that, you know, for instance, Troy knows 8 o'clock at night, at that point, I don't talk business because my brain will get up and running. I need to be able to go to sleep. By 8:30, I'm climbing in my bath with a little bit of Epsom salts and some calm essential oil, and by 9 o'clock, I'm in bed. So I have a routine. My body starts shifting because it knows what's going on. Habits make a big difference with this. Being kind to your liver. So that means with stress, it means with alcohol, it means with different types of toxins that you're exposed to. You know, what types of things are you using to do your laundry and your clothes? What foods are you eating? The liver is very involved with balancing hormones. The kinder we are to our liver, the easier of a transition you will have through menopause. Move. Otherwise, don't just sit. Even if you have set an alarm to get up and move around, because so many people are working from home or working virtually, to get up and move and walk around the house or walk around the block. Because when you're stagnant, then the lymphatics are unable to move out the toxins, which we call, end up with a traffic jam and impacting our liver. Drinking water. Water is very important for getting nutrition to where it needs to go and taking the trash out. Reducing your caffeine will make a big difference. Caffeine has been shown to stress the adrenals, which in an indirect route ends up impacting how menopauses work with. Making better food choices, healthy fats. Good fats are going to help build our hormones and help with that brain fog that so many women deal with. Fiber to help the liver to reduce the toxins that are in the system and move them out. And taking adaptogens. Now, for people who are not familiar with adaptogens, adaptogens are, and I like this definition from one of my favorite books, those non-specific endocrine regulating, immune modulating effects of certain plants and increase a person's ability to maintain optimal balance in the face of physical or emotional stress. So if you think about all those symptoms that we saw listed tied with menopause, so if we can get in and support endocrine regulation and helping the body to maintain optimal balance despite what's going on physically and emotionally, we have got something that makes a huge difference. And here's another look at adaptogens. And these can be considered tonics for the whole body. And when we look at the entire body, the things that we're mainly looking well, that jump out are going to be adrenals, brain, heart, immune system, liver. And that's all important when we come into working with menopause. And because of the delicate balance and what is going on, which is why when something gets thrown off, then we can experience such a rough go with things. So maca is one of the plants that we do like to use when it comes to working through menopause. And it is in the both the XL and the SolleMaca. But what I wanted to look at was these couple items right here. Maca is known to support the endocrine system. It's got 31 minerals in it. Iron, that's another thing that I didn't share. A lot of people, I've seen women end up with issues with iron deficiency when they're going through menopause. Calcium, we're looking at bones, and magnesium with bones. Silica is going to have to do with our hair and fingernails, iodine with our thyroid. These are just a couple of different things. Then you're looking at a couple of these B vitamins, C and E. These are very high and loaded in maca. And then maca is known to help support the pituitary and the hypothalamus and the master gland. So otherwise, basically the part of the system that is running the show, that is trying to get this balance just right. Now, yes, we're talking about menopause, but there's different aspects of the reproductive area that maca supports. And if it can support PMS, fertility, and libido, of course it can support menopause, because what we're showing is with an adaptogen how it modulates accordingly to support the body to bring it into balance regarding what the person is experiencing individually. So maca is a very good power player here. And then is an adaptogen, it helps work with stress. Stress does impact the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is going to impact the adrenals. And guess what? When you've got cortisol going up, you don't sleep as well. You can't relax as much. And it just, these dominoes, really what I should say is there are multiple points of looking at it like dominoes that can set off the whole cascade here. And maca and these other adaptogens I'm going to talk about are outstanding at helping to regulate all of it. Instead of picking one different item for each thing going on, adaptogens are beautiful in their ability to know exactly where to go and what to do. And then we have tribulus. Tribulus is added, we added into the SolleMaca XD in this last year. It has been a wonderful addition. And I'm not certain people realize what it also can do when it comes to menopause. So I picked a couple of the attributes that specifically tie to our topic tonight. So it helps to improve mood. We have seen women talk about how their mood jumps all over the place. It's not just with PMS, it can come with menopause too. So tribulus helps with that. It's going to help with the sex drive, because many women in particular talk about when these hormones start jumping around that they lose all interest in sex. And so tribulus can help to balance that. One of the reasons it does that is it helps to regulate testosterone. And the reason I've got on here that it balances is because if it's too high, then it's going to scale it back. If it's too low, it's going to help elevate it, the production of it. And I found this kind of interesting that it specifically says it helps to alleviate the negative side effects of menopause. And I just find it interesting that they're saying side effects of menopause as opposed to symptoms like I don't know, because that was very odd to me. But these are coming out of this, one of my favorite books here. But basically what tribulus does is, again, like other adaptogens, it helps to bring the body into balance. It is liver protective or hepatoprotective, very important with helping the liver to do its job to regulate these hormones. And then one of the other hormones that women end up having issues with often is estrogen. So again, whether it's too high or too low, tribulus helps to bring that into balance. And then anti-inflammatory. When we talked about the joint pain and the other types of irritation in the body, bloating, inflammation, tribulus helps to challenge that as well. So initially, we listened to how Shelley shared about how the Vital and then the Cinemate were so key. Well, you guys know that I believe that the Vital is one of the key things to help build that foundation for people. And so when we look at the elements tied with Vital, we see the ability to detox. Why is that important when we're going through menopause? Because as the body is getting rid of, I don't like the term, but they have a term of, bad estrogen. If we can support the liver in doing that, and chlorophyll helps with that, then that helps to move it out of the system. When you're alkalizing, then that means it's going to help to counter inflammation, recovery. You've got exhaustion, getting those minerals up, balancing just in general, and then energy. A lot of women talk about how they just don't have the energy. And then with SolleMaca, we often find that women go through crazy cravings or they're eating their emotions. So SolleMaca can help with keeping that blood sugar in balance. It is loaded, and this barely skims the surface of how many vitamins and minerals and amino acids. It's so nutrient dense what is in there with the yerba mate, has a good energy without pushing the body like when you see people reaching for monster drinks. And then digestion, we saw there was issues with digestion that could show up. And then supporting the immune system, because when your body's going through a change and it's stressful, then the immune system can be, let's just say, not as strong as it normally would, because the body's sending energy to other areas of the body to support it. And so I thought it was important to put these two basics in here because they work wonders in so many different areas of health. And this one also. So let's listen to a really neat way of Debbie helped someone with hot flashes.
Hey everyone, my name is Debbie Cockburn. My sweet friend Valerie asked me to share a quick testimonial about something that we did for a customer who could not swallow capsules, who did not enjoy the taste of our 4 beverages and was suffering from hot flashes. So what my friend did for her friend was she made a cream for her with using about 1.5 ounces of our AC cream and 10 SolleMaca XD capsules. And she also added a little bit of grapeseed oil to this cream blend that she did. And she gave it to her friend, and she would apply it to the breast area, to the abdomen, to the buttocks, to the inner thighs. And within 2 days, she stopped having hot flashes. This is a great option for your customers who can't swallow capsules. I hope this helps you.
I love this thinking outside the capsule. This is so powerful. And I want to make certain that we have this testimony, and I'm excited for other women to try this. And remember, our skin is our biggest organ, and to be able to use the delivery that way and get those type of results, I can't wait to hear what other women have to say about this. So now I've asked Greg Halliday to take a few minutes and explain the difference between SolleMaca XD and Excel. And let's see here. Let me get you, there you are. Make you a co-host, there you are. All right, Greg, take it away, please.
Thank you, Valerie. Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a great afternoon and evening. So that picture that you just showed, the yellow drink, right? And then these capsules. The first difference to remember is just that in the standard dose of the drink, which is 1 packet, and the standard dose of the capsules, which is 3 capsules, you have twice the amount of each ingredient. So the capsule is twice the amount in the 3 capsules that you would have in 1 packet. That's the first difference. So there are a number of ingredients that are similar to both and those are the 3 kinds of maca and the Cupuaçu. Those are in the Excel drink, and they also are in the capsule. They're just in a double dose per 3 capsules. So it is something that's a little bit more, concentrated, or if a person, is not going to drink the drink. They both are so unique with really important complementary herbs in addition to these macas that they're both wonderful. I mean, I really can't tell anyone that one's better than the other, but they are different. So the Excel has those macas, as I said, in a normal dose, a full dose, and it's plenty potent. Please don't think that the Excel drink, the yellow drink, is not potent. It is. But it also is combined with the Soul Clear blend. And that Soul Clear blend in the drink is all these things, eyes and heart and blood and lungs, that help clear out blockages. and restore the flow. That's how I think of them. Whereas the SolleMaca is going to emphasize other things. And I think that's why I think it's a key component in Valerie's topic tonight that she's teaching. I brought some slides from a presentation 1 year ago this month. Dr. Allison did a really front to back discussion on SolleMaca XD. I love it. It's 60 slides long, 60. So we're only going to I want to bounce to just a few, because Valerie asked me to talk about the different, but also maybe talk about why 3 kinds of maca. Why do we have 3 different kinds? And she covers this in the presentation. So let me jump to the slides and just again, promise me you'll forgive me for jumping around. But that's what we need to do tonight. So I mentioned that SolleMaca is a double dose of the 3 kinds of maca, but it also has some differences. And you can see the 3 here. Damiana, Cupuaçu is actually part of that maca vibrancy blend in Excel as well. So when I talk about 3 differences, it's the last 3 points on this list. Damiana, Cordyceps, and Tribulus terrestris. Tribulus was added, what was it, Valerie, 2 years ago, 2-ish, 3?
Oh, about a year and a half.
Oh, yeah. So not that long ago. And we don't change these formulas lightly. There was so much compelling evidence that really made it an overwhelming yes to add Tribulus. This formula before then did not have Tribulus, but you heard what Valerie said about it. It was a no-brainer to add Tribulus. It just, and we did not lessen the other ingredients, by the way, or lower them. So let's just jump into a little bit the 3 macas. I love this. The longer we're around natural things, we learn that color is extremely important in giving us an indicator of the emphasis of ingredients. And even though there are common ingredients, many of them in all 3 maca, there are some greater quantities of certain components. And that is honestly, in a nutshell, why we have 3, because there are some nuances and some substances that are unique. So levels and also substances that are unique to each of the 3 macas. By substances, I just mean beneficial compounds, plant compounds. And so that's the reason, because though we could choose one of them and you could do very well with what Valerie taught us, all the things that maca do, all that maca does for us, you would do very well even if you chose one. They all 3 are adaptogens. They're complete. They don't need each other. However, when you combine all 3 of them, it brings it to a much more polished and complete level for this whole area of endocrine, nervous system balance. And it's more than, but well, let's call it endocrine and our nerves, okay? That interplay. And so when you look at the slides here, they have handpicked studies from different health issues from the list that Valerie showed us. That's big long lists of, because you could choose them from the menopause list she showed us. And they've picked these different things. And then they pick it from the menopause list as well, right? For men. Maca is so unique because it is not leaning toward one gender. It is quite incredible, equally beneficial for both men and women. So I'm not going to do this, but you can take the quick glance. And if you're super fast with your phone, just snap a photo of it. I can always give Valerie the link to all of these slides if you want me to. And she could get them to you, because Dr. Allison doesn't mind sharing it. But high altitude, lots of early writing about it. It was highly valued, even more than gold for some people. And honestly, we can thank this woman right here, because the world becomes modern and we move on, and some things that should not be forgotten are forgotten. And thanks to this doctor, she started to do studies and pointed out, and I think we have her name in the next slide, because they were down to very little activity in their country on this. And oh, we don't have her name. It's I can't remember if it's Chacon. We'll see if it circles back to her. Okay, if not, I'll look it up for you if you want to know. But if you look up Maca, and you can probably find her online. So I'm just going to jump to the 3 kinds. Okay. Oh, there it is, Dr. Chacon. Look how long ago the 1960s. How do we not see this until, well, because we don't have education like organized like we do now with classes like this with Valerie. But just like she said, it is Dr. Chacon who showed that they work through the hypothalamus. They actually work through hypothalamus pituitary. Therefore, it is not putting hormones in you. Rather, it is regulating and modulating. It is fantastic, and that is the best kind of nutrition. That's roots nutrition, as Valerie talks about. So I'm jumping here. Please forgive me. Oh, look at that, Valerie. She saw your thing. She's a little plug for that. Okay. So I'm jumping to the kind. Okay. Sorry, I'm just jumping off. She talks about men and women. She talks about menopause. I don't think we need to because Valerie's discussed this. Okay. So sorry, but lots of studies validating everything Valerie's told you tonight. I can just tell you that. And she jumps into athletes. Same thing. Men usually perk up on this and women as well. Why does it help with chronic fatigue? Why does it help with cognitive functioning? There are lots of studies with Maca and this. And here's where I'm jumping. This is why I jumped through all that so fast. Here's just some studies. So this is black Maca. And there have been some studies where they compare them, and some do more in certain areas, and others do more in others. So why not have the feast be complete? So because these are all adaptogens, your body will grab what it most needs, is my way of thinking. That's the layman's Greg way of thinking. It grabs what it lacks the most more readily. And then here's red Maca. Look what we've got here. Okay, even though some studies didn't show different, I find those funny because it's back to what Valerie says about modulating. If it needs to go up, it does. And if it doesn't, it will actually adaptively work. And so I think that explains some of those. But GABA is higher in red Maca. People did rate this particular Maca even higher in terms of mood lifting and energy and libido in general. In terms of things with memory and learning and cognitive, black Maca seemed to lead in a number of studies. In other words, they all did well, but black Maca did particularly well in changing it, is the way to read that. And we've got blood sugar studies. So fasting glucose tolerance, any measure that you want to take for benefiting that pancreas and how your body manages sugar, and it's the way it's stored and the way it's converted into energy. So that's one that's important to have all three. And I'm sorry I'm going through them so fast, but there are tons more studies just like that. She just highlighted 3 or 4. There are just pages and pages. If you want to go research it, it can be a lot of fun. Cupuaçu, again, though that's in both the drink and in this, but it's here because it is way underappreciated here in the US. It is incredibly underappreciated. It's quite adaptogenic, though maybe perhaps not adaptogen in what it does. It's known as a pharmacy in a fruit in Brazil. Any benefit that you can choose that's really kind of adaptive in nature, you can find in Cupuaçu. That again, so who knows? Maybe some years down the road, we're gonna verify all this, and it's gonna, oh yes, add that to your list of adaptogens. Could very well be. It is actually even more nutritious than acai. Reduces cortisol. Valerie talked about cortisol problems. Improves memory, mood, reduces pain and inflammation. So Cupuaçu, again, maybe not a difference here. It's in both, but it's an important component here. Valerie talked about low B vitamins. I'm just thinking of that list she had and how these address all of them. This is the rest of your difference. The final thing I want to leave you with is that the capsules contain Damiana and Cordyceps as well. The rest of it is common to both Excel and, the Damiana, Cordyceps, and Tribulus. The rest of it is common to the drink, just in a higher dose, okay, in the capsules. So you can take a quick look at all the stuff Damiana does, both for men and for women. Quite intriguing and really interesting, the brain studies, the more recent brain studies that are protective in nature. Damiana, that tells me it's something I want to use as part of my daily, or at least very regular nutrition. Protecting kidneys as well. Antibiotic resistant bacteria, interesting as well with Damiana. And one of my personal favorites, and one that I've used for almost 30 years now, is Cordyceps. We have that in other products too. Ours is not sourced from the caterpillar. Ours is sourced from a fermented mushroom, so it is more of it is controlled, but you get that benefit. You get the mushroom benefit and this a fungus and a mushroom, but an edible and a high grade medicinal. These grow in high altitude. Lots of wonderful benefits of cordyceps that are complementary to all the things that Valerie talked about here today. And I'm not going to talk tribulus because you mentioned tribulus, okay, Valerie? But this at least gives you the big difference being Damiana and cordyceps and tribulus, which are super complementary. Tribulus is probably an adaptogen as well. So think about how many you have in this formula. When you got all three Macas, you might have Cupuaçu, you probably have tribulus, and you have cordyceps, which is absolutely an adaptogen. You're getting here nearly the same numbers of adaptogens as you have in adaptable, but these are in a family that are known to work more pronounced in glandular and related modulation. And that's why they're in the formula they're at. So I hope that little quick jaunt through Allison's slides was not too blurry. Hope it was okay.
That was great. Thank you, Greg. Let's see here. So when I was looking for different testimonies and experiences that people that had with the with menopause with the Solle products, it was really kind of neat, the different array that I found out. So SolleMaca, we were seeing this person was 3 a day, helped with them with mood swings, hot flashes, dryness. They also, when they added SolleMaca's Vital and Adaptable, like they said, slow and steady wins the race. And then we found another one here, talking about someone who had a full hysterectomy, which of course sent them into immediate menopause. They tried lots of things and hated all the side effects. And now they're 34. The Vital and the SolleMaca is what is doing it for them. And I do want to point out, because we're going to see a couple things with adaptable here, that the same 6 adaptogens in adaptable are also in the Vital, minus the St. John's wort. But you will find people that also get results with the adaptable as well. And then we have someone here, it's 4 clients that are using Excel and Vital. So they're not having the sheet drenching, have to get in the middle of the night, wake hubby up to change his sheets and shower, etc. episodes. That sounds like that was a great relief for them. And then we're talking about carrying their calm with them for acute emotional issues, because, women talking about, crying for no reason or getting really angry for no reasons. And so having that calm with them, helping to balance that out. And then here, adaptable alone took care of this woman's hot flashes. And she had a full hysterectomy too. And she actually was able to get off her hormone cream and replace it with adaptable. Well, let me remind you of the power of what adaptogens do. Again, they modulate and help the body to find its ideal or optimal balance. When we are having those symptoms that are showing up that I give you on the list, that means the body's out of balance. It is telling you, it's giving you symptoms that are saying, help me regulate, help me do this, not something you have to endure or cover up. That is the beauty of using these adaptogenic formulas and what ends up happening. So you can see now why the women who are working proactively with supporting their health with Bella Health, what they're already getting in their system. And of course, it's not a surprise when they are hitting menopause that they're having an easier time often. We've also got the Vibrancy helping with digestion, which we heard about. We've got the probe and sleep, and then we've got the probio, which we know helps to regulate the gut motility, and it's going to help with brain function. And then when you're adding in the longevity, we're supporting for bone development and helping to prevent osteoporosis. Now, that's just as a general foundation. Maybe you know that I like that. Now, if that isn't quite meeting the needs or matching it, we've talked about the Excel and the SolleMaca. And Becky had asked again, and I wrote down here that Greg had said that 3 capsules equals, well, actually, I might have that incorrect. 3 capsules equals 2 times the dose of what was in the Excel packet. Is that correct, Greg? if he might be chatting in.
Yes,
And then
no,
this,
no, yes, it is, Valerie. Just the Maca component of Excel. Remember, Excel also has all those soul clear herbs.
right,
And they're not
just
in
that Maca component. And then the other difference, what I'm seeing with the Soul or with the Excel, because Becky was wondering the difference there too. The Excel, we're coming in, we're also supporting, vision health. We're talking about the filtering system. You're talking about lymphatics. And so they may have the similar components of the Maca, but they get different benefits. I know for myself, when I went into menopause, I didn't deal with all the hot sweats, the night sweats, or any of that hot flashes because I was doing this Salle Vital, Vibrancy, and the probio. But my body did get irregular with its cycles, and I had a history of endometriosis and ovarian cysts, so that wasn't a surprise. But it got very intense, and it would 9 days on, 3 days off, do it again. We got Excel, and I kid you not, the month I started the Excel, at that point, I never had another cycle again. I went completely all the way into menopause. It was done. It was that missing link. And that was before we had the SolleMaca. I would bet that the SolleMaca would have done the same thing too. But Excel worked like a charm for me. And then we talked about calm and we talked about adaptable. So figuring out which one of those might be the missing link to try. And then I think this is very important because women, as a rule, tend to don't look favorably on aging. I love getting older. I love the wisdom that comes with getting older. And so I want to use this for our quote. Aging is not lost youth, but a new stage of opportunity and strength. And let me tell you, with these adaptogenic formulas, that is even more true. So next week, we will be doing our Soul product Q&A, where we will be focusing on the Compass blends. And I also wanted to make certain that you knew, if you weren't aware, about how you can text LEARN to that number right there, and you will get the text alerts that I sent out at 6:15, so 15 minutes before we start, and it has the link into it, both of that night's Zoom, but also I've been adding a link to a recorded webinar too that might be of interest to you. So if you haven't had the chance yet, take a quick picture of that and get added into that list. There's no charge for it. And then you'll be included in next week's link.